Hello, I'm Wendy and this is Summer Bay Studio. Today I'm going to make easy abstract gift tags for all your Christmas wrapping and giving. And I'm going to be using, I guess you could say mixed media, because I'm going to be using a whole bunch of different things, including watercolor and inks and glitter and glue, and we'll just see what happens. So to start with, I'm going to first get out my little spray bottle, which has just got water in it. And I'm going to wet this piece of paper. Now this is a piece of watercolor paper, and I've just got it on a piece of scrap here to keep things a little bit cleaner because I want to paint right to the edges. And so I'm just going to kind of liberally squirt water on it here. And then I'm going to use a brush to spread it around and just make sure everything is really covered. And that's okay, just like that. And now I'm going to take some calligraphy ink. Now I've had these for years. It came in a set, and in fact I've had it so long that the box has faded. But the colors are still as vibrant as ever. And I'm going to be using these pearlescent colors in a while, but right now I want to use this. And these colors are just absolutely dazzling. So what they do when they hit water is, you'll see, they spread around. So because this is abstract, I'm going to use probably quite a bit of it, but you can see how they bleed right out and just look stunning. Put it on a little thicker and you get more intense color. You can see my paper is buckling with all that water. I haven't pre-stretched it, and that's okay. You don't really have to. It's not really imperative that it be flat. I could tape it down if I wanted to, but I didn't, so it's not a big deal. Now I'm just rinsing the water out of my brush and that ink as much as I can. It stains, it's permanent, so you don't want to wait to do that. And I'm just going to put the top on this one. And then take this one, which is kind of a turquoise blue. In fact, it's called turquoise. Just going to pick up a little bit more water, pick up some ink, and fill this in so that there's really not much of the white showing. Now, if I wanted to, I could spray it again over top of this. In fact, I will, just to show you what will happen. I'm going to go up a little higher. Put a little more water in it and it just bleeds more. It also has splashed a little bit. I put on my apron today because I don't want to wear this permanent ink. And you can see how warped it is, but I'm just going to let it dry and then we can go on to step 2. There now, this is dry. I actually dried it with my so-called heat gun, which is actually a hair curling unit that has attachments that I just took it off, and it works great. It took minutes, really. Hardly any minutes. So it's just ever so slightly damp, but that doesn't matter, it's dry enough. So I don't need this water anymore. And what I want to do now is get out my Fine-Tech pearlescent colors. I'm just going to move all of these away as well so that can open. The paper has flattened right out again because it was, it was so curled. But when it was so curled like that, the ink actually ran, which is a really pretty effect. So what I want to do with this now is get a brush that holds quite a bit but has a nice point. So I'm going to use this Q Series 5R white water media brush in a size 12. And I can't tell you where I got this because I don't know. I'm going to wet this brush and I want to put gold in it. And I like this gold here because to me it's kind of an old gold. So I'm going to wet that, get that nice and wet here because it kind of, I wouldn't say it dissolves, but it kind of becomes creamy. And I want to have enough that it'll last for a little bit, not so much that it's going to be thin. So, as I always say, try it on something else. On a scrap, for example, like this. See what the effect is? It's really, really nice. Okay. Now I'm going to just make some streaks. They don't need to be all the same. In fact, you can have them however you want. If you want to do curves and circles or X's and O's, or it doesn't really matter. Because for one thing, we're going to be cutting this apart. And the other thing is, I did say abstract. So I can do as much or as little as I want. Now you can see here where the paint or the wet has actually picked up that ink. So I'm just going to go over that. There, I think that's probably enough. And you can see the actual iridescence of it when I turn it like that. It's so pretty, isn't it? And all it is a couple of colors of ink and some gold paint. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I have another step in mind. Okay, well this is dry now. It's still, the paper is actually still a bit damp, and what happens when it dries is it curls, so it could curl this way or it could curl this way or whatever, but you can just bend it back. And if it gets really curled, once it's completely dry, my trick is I take it and from the back I'll spritz it lightly with water, and then I'll iron it really quickly with a hot iron. So my next step in this product or procedure is I'm using this glue that has a really fine nozzle, and it's actually called art glitter glue, and it has a really fine nozzle, and it dries clear. So what I want to do with this then, I'm just simply going to make some shapes like this. And while it's still good and wet, I am going to sprinkle it with Creatology extra fine glitter, which I bought at Michael's. And I want to get it on actually pretty thickly here. So I'm trying to make sure that everything gets some, because it's never wasted anyway. Once it's dry, I just dump off the excess and put it back in the little container here. I think that's going to work. Now I will let that dry, and then I will dump off the excess, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, while my other piece is drying, I want that glue to be nice and dry because I'm going to have to cut that paper. So if it's still soft and mushy, it's going to be messy. So I've got a piece of scrap leftover watercolor paper here. And what I'm going to do with this is I want to just paint it with a nice bright red, but I just want to include you in the process here. So I need a wide brush, which I have here. This one will do. And these are watercolor brushes. I keep them separate from my other brushes, which are for acrylic paint, because I really don't want them to mix. So I'm using a Madder Lake Light here as a red, which is a nice kind of Christmassy red. And I want to just mix up a nice big puddle of it here. So to do that, I add more water, I add more paint, I add more water, I add more paint. And my goal is to basically cover this whole piece. So I might as well put it this way because then it's easier to work on. And I don't care if there's a little bit of variation in the color, doesn't matter. I'll use this till it's used up, and then I'll mix some more. And it will make watermarks because it gets drier at some points, right? And then that bleeds back into, when you put more wet on it, it bleeds back into the part that's drier and you get watermarks. And that's okay with me because I love the look of watercolor regardless. So if I'm advising you, and I'm just actually suggesting things, I would say don't worry about that. The important thing too is don't mess with it too much because it gets sort of muddy and smudgy and I don't know. And it also degrades your paper if you mess around with it for too long. Now, as you can see, it dries lighter than it looks when it's wet. And this is normal. Watercolors always do that. So I'm going to put another coat of it on here because I want it to be quite a bit more intense. Now I do have some red ink which I could use, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with watercolor right now because I'm guessing that you probably have more watercolor than you have calligraphy ink. Unless you're a calligrapher as well, then you probably don't have that anyway. So, okay, it's dry, and you know, with this dryer, it literally dries before my very eyes. So I'm going to move this out of the way now and bring my metallic colors back in because I want to add some of this pearlescent look. And now I've got two of them. This one's kind of a coppery red, and this is more of a kind of a purpley red almost. That's a purple, but these colors are funny on their own. They don't really show that much color. So as you can see here, this is the blue. This is this silvery blue. This is this gold. This one is white. You probably can't even see that unless I do this. And this one is this one here. Or no, this one is this one. This one is this one. So I've tried some different ones, and I'm going to go with this one because it's just a little more intense than this one and a little more kind of a burgundy maybe. I'm also going to spray some water in it so that I don't have to gather up so much. And I'm not going to mix it in here. I don't need to. It's going to be a pure color, which means, you know, not mixing. So you can see what it does here with this color. It doesn't really add a lot of color, but it does add that pearliness. Okay, this is dry, and you can see the variation in color more when you sort of tilt it. And it's still a little bit dampish because I can feel it on the back. It's not completely dry, but it doesn't matter. There's so many ways that you can go with this. You can use glitter and glue. You can use, I've got these rub-on foils. So I thought what I would do is just kind of mix and match. This will be like a sample piece, and I don't need that. But I have this great glue, which is just a glue stick. And I thought what I would do is use it as the base for both this and some glitter. And then we can cut our tags afterwards. So I'm going to leave this under here. And I'm just going to make just some streaks of glue. I've also got some, what other colors do I have here? I've got some of this snow color in this is a thicker glitter, and there's this iridescent one in a really fine glitter. So I might put some of that on as well. And what I want to do, I'm just kind of going, okay, this is abstract. I'm going to be cutting my pieces probably like this. And I don't care if it crosses over. So I'm going to start here and just put a streak of glue like this. And this kind of stuff, kind of glue is, you know, it's kind of stringy. Just to pack on some silver glitter like that. Knock it off. And this is the effect I get. It's kind of like a lightning bolt or something. So I'm going to do a couple more silver ones. And this one I'm going to take down this way so I can take it off the edge. And then another one like this, and another one like this. And I'm really pressing on this because this glue is quite stiff. And if I was doing that for the whole piece, I would just leave it like that. Just going to run some over this way because I see a bit of glue. See how, ooh, that is cool. And then you can just knock off the excess. I love this. Surprise, surprise. Okay, I'm going to do a few of this color because I love this iridescent, so I don't need that. And I think I'll just do some shapes instead. Now this has corners, so it'll work for that. And I can just kind of put down some abstract I don't know, streaks, I guess is a good way to put it. So this will make kind of a snow effect, I'm hoping. And I'm going to dump this on something else because I don't want them mixing up, because I want to probably put this stuff back. Let's see, is this one clean? This is clean. So just tap that off. I see I got some silver in here anyway. So there's my snow effect, which I think is kind of interesting as well. And now I'm going to use one of these. This is rub-on foil by Prima Marketing, and they have really cool stuff. So this one here, I'm going to take, this came with 6 sheets of 6 by 12, and I tried some of it with this, as you can see. See how that goes? And then they're so thin you can hardly tell. I'm going to use this multicolored one. And I'm going to use the same technique, and that's just my glue stick and some swipey motions like this. And I'm going to just take this and put it over top. I'm going to get it right out to the edge here. And no wrinkles. And this is rub-on, but it has to have something to adhere to. So just rub really well, because I can actually see where the glue is by the roughness of on the paper. Now I could also use something like this, which is not a bad idea, although this does maybe scratch a little bit. All right, I've only tried this once, so let's see what happens. This is very cool. Okay, wait a minute. There's a little bit there that didn't catch. Saw more glue. Just gotta rub that in a little bit more. And look at that. How cool is that? Wow, I really like that. I like the colors. I thought I was going to get gold in this kit, but it didn't come that way, and I guess I just read the thing wrong. But look at this. That is pretty fun. So all I have to do now is just let this glue dry a little bit, and then we can start cutting. Now, my other one is pretty much dry. So that's quite thrilling, because I'm going to start making my gift tags now. This one is almost completely dry. So where I have to really be careful is these thicker, where the glue kind of blobbed a little bit, but I think I can cut through it anyway. So here's the situation with curling again, and you can just like bend it the other way and it pretty much flattens out. When it's handwork, that's part of the charm, right? Please tell me it's part of the charm. Okay, what I want to do first is probably cut off this edge, because I didn't get the ink right to the very edge. Now I want to measure so I know how big to make these. So my 0 line is the cut line, and this is 7 1/4. And I'll cut the others later so that I can just carry on, because I think you get the idea. Now, to make it into a tag, you can do lots of different things. Let's start with hole punch. You'll want to put a hole in it, and we're getting to that. And you want to cut the corners. So this corner cutter is, I'm telling you, kind of unreliable. Sometimes it cuts and sometimes it doesn't. And this is quite heavy paper, as I've mentioned. So I'm going to try just to do some top corners here. See what I mean? it just doesn't cut through, and I don't know why, and I don't know how to fix it. However, it has given me a line to cut on, so I'll just go around this with my scissors. If you have a better system, lucky you. Now, there's another way I can do this, and that's just to cut the corners off. And I'm just basically eyeballing it. Hold on, I have another plan. I have these tags, and what you can do is take one of these, just line it up like this with two sides, and use it as a guide. There. And now all it needs is a hole to put the ribbon in. So I am going to just totally guess on this. And to do that, you just kind of hold it like this and go, okay, are those sides about even? And is it in far enough? Looks good to me. There we go. Had a little bit of a glitter shower there. Isn't that pretty? I think that is so pretty. But we're not done yet, because I've got this and I've got this, and I'm going to use it as a tie on it. So let's pull a little bit of this out and cut it, and I'm going to thread it through here like this. Now you can do this a couple of ways. One is just straight through like this, and then tie this in a knot so it hangs like that. The other way is to fold it in half first, put it through from the back, we've had terrible storms here. We've got flood all over, as you probably heard on the national news if you watch that. Canadian, just Google flood in British Columbia. Okay, so there's this way as well. Now you can leave these ends, and then when you do a gift, you can just tape it to the gift along there. Where you're going to write on it is on the back. And or you can tie a knot in this end with both of them, like this. Push it out as far as you can go, like that. And then you can run a ribbon through it or whatever you like. But there's our dazzling blue and gold gift tags. And I'm not going to do the rest of them because I've already given you all the ideas. You can figure that out for yourself. But I am going to cut some of this, and let's see what happens. Now all you have to do with these is you can cut the corners if you want to, but you can just also leave them square. So to leave them square, all you have to do is cut a hole in the corner or in the middle at the top, whatever you prefer. I'm going to cut, this one's not square, so I'm going to do a square one with a hole in the corner. This would be a good one because it doesn't have any glitter in the corner. I like how that glitter just flies off there. How fun is that? Now here's one more thought. I'm not going to do the rest of these. Like I said before, you get the idea. There's one more thought you could do, and that is you can distress the outsides if you want to. And I'm going to use this Distress ink in Walnut Stain just on the very edge so that it gives it a dark edge. So this is just, I don't know, to make it snazzier. And if you've got lots of colors, you can use your colors and whatnot. I've got some reds and blues and things like that. I do have some things like this white ribbon. You could put that in the corner, or this twine. I'm not sure about twine. Oh, wait a minute, here's a silver one. That would look great. So that could go in the corner as well to tie it. And then if you've got trims like this one, for example, if I wanted to dress up these even further, why not just put a piece of that on there? How gorgeous is that? So I've made a proper mess here today. I really love these ones because, well, I'm a blue person. I love blues and I love gold. And look how gorgeous that is. And where's my one with the cut corners? I'm going to put a hole in here. Like that. And then I could thread some of this through that. And just get some down here. Put that through there. Tie it on a gift. This is actually stretchy, so you could wrap it around something. And then you just write on the back. Please subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so you can get notified for all the videos. Click the all. And I would love it if you would leave a comment and click the like button because that tells people that it's likable. And I'd love to hear what you think. And I'll see you next time.